I'm sitting on the beach, heart racing, sweaty palms, shaky hands as I tentatively take off my bikini. And I'm naked, wearing nothing but a smile. Welcome to the Naked Woman podcast. I am your host, Gemma Louise Finch, and in this episode, I share the story of getting naked for the first time and how it ended up revealing way more than skin. So let's jump in to the story. So I make it to the beach, and after much deliberation, I finally find a spot to lay my towel, and it's at the back. There is not a soul in sight, and so I lay my towel and I start getting my bits and bobs out. I get my food out, I get my drink, I get my journal, I get my book, I get my clothes and fold them into a nice, neat pile. Basically, doing everything but the very thing I know I am here for. And when it got to the point that I literally had nothing else left to do but remove my bikini, did I realize I actually now needed to try. And so I'm sitting there and I start to move my hand closer to my bikini top. And I froze. I couldn't do it. Everything inside my body was screaming me to stop. I said, okay, let's try again, Gemma. So we tried again, couldn't do it. So I tried again. I couldn't do it. My heart was racing, my hands were shaking. I had sweaty palms. I was bright red like a beetroot and not from the sun. And yet something special happened in this moment. Because for the first time, I remember feeling. I remember feeling something that I knew I had run from for a very long time. And yet now, with no distractions, nobody around me, I could no longer avoid these feelings. And for the first time, I allowed myself to feel the shame, to feel the fear around my body, my perception of my body image, the fears around being seen, and particularly fears around my expression. And in this full acceptance of allowing myself to feel these feelings, I remember this question coming through. And the question was, why? Why do I feel fear? Why do I feel shame? Why is my nervous system in a freeze mode? And I was hit with memory after memory of times where I had felt shame around my body. That memory from my sister telling me to put a bra on because no one wants to see my boobs. The memory when my mother said, "You can't go out wearing that dress, Gemma. People can see your thunder thighs." The memory where I avoid wearing the shorts because I don't want my legs to be seen. I was shown it all. Every belief, every thought, every memory that said, I can't do this. And to sit and to face it all was extremely uncomfortable. And I let those tears fall, and I let that part of me be witnessed in her feelings. But in the space of allowing those feelings to be seen, of allowing my body to release the tears that it needed to release, another question came through. And that question was, is it true? It feels true, but is it true? And I realized in that moment that I had taken on other people's opinions, other people's story around my body and my expression of my body, and made them my own. And I had actually blamed them for the feelings that I carried, because in response to you, I now feel something uncomfortable. So it has to be because of you. But in releasing that need to blame someone or to make something else or somebody else responsible, I realized that actually these weren't my truth. I had kept them as my truth, but they didn't need to be my truth. And the powerful thing that I found in that moment was when I let go of the stories around what my sister had said, what my mother had said. I let go of all those times where I had said to myself very hurtful things. There's peace of freedom of if I take responsibility for how I feel and for the truths that I have kept alive, then in this moment I get to change them, and I can change the beliefs I hold around my body, and I can find a new truth. And so in reflection around that moment was with still feeling raw and emotional and vulnerable for going into those stories and seeing where I had held on to stories that just were not who I wanted to be anymore. It was that gave me the courage to remove my bikini top and then remove my bikini bottom. And do you know what happened next? Absolutely nothing. No phone call from my mother to say, put your clothes back on. No siren that said, woman's got naked, put her clothes on. Nothing yet. The only thing I had on was a smile. Because I did the thing that I didn't think was ever possible. What I learned from this part of this story of getting naked was that actually sometimes the most scariest thing isn't people necessarily seeing you. Actually, the most scariest thing is having to see ourselves fully, honestly, and not only seeing ourselves, but actually having to feel everything. Getting naked in that moment. And every time I go to that beach, getting naked is not about exhibition. It's about liberation, about coming home to my body and choosing a truth that feels like mine, and letting go of the past, letting go of the old stories, the old beliefs, and fully choosing who I want to be in that moment. In contemplating this first experience on the nudist beach, it has really shown me the power that we hold when we choose to change the inner world without needing the external world to change first. I can see so many times in my life where I have put off doing the thing that I want to do or desiring to do because I fully believed that, well, unless that person says something, unless that person changes, unless this comes into my reality, then it's not gonna work. And this story shows me that that's not true. I don't need the external world to give me the evidence or the validation in order to do something. I didn't need my sister to tell me, nah, just get your boobs out, Jem. No one cares. I take it all back. I didn't need my mum to tell me, forget about what I said. Just get your legs out. I didn't need them. And yet, I still did the thing I didn't think I could do because I chose to change my inner world first. And that's for me the gift that I have taken from that first experience. And what I find really beautiful over the last 3 years is that even now, when I go back to that beach and I start taking off my bikini for the first time, I still feel little flutters of nerves and maybe a little bit more excitement, but it's still there. And I think, again, this shows me that I think sometimes I used to believe that, I do this one thing and then it's gone. And this experience is showing me that that's just not how it is. And in truth, I don't think I would want it to be any different because I really think that this story means so much to me because of how much it took to get naked and still how much it takes for me to have the courage to get naked. And every time I go back to that beach and I feel it get a little easier and I feel myself get a little excited in anticipation of getting naked, it just shows me how far I've come. And it makes this story mean so much more. And I really have sat and reflected of, well, how is it so easy on that beach? How can I sit with fears and do something so impossible, or what I believe to be so impossible, yet in my everyday life, I just cannot seem to do the same. And I think one of the gifts of that beach is, and for me going alone, is there's just no distractions. I can't avoid myself on that beach. There is something I experience when I sit on that beach. It is like it is just me and Mother Earth, God, universe, and it's just like, no, you're not hiding from yourself. This is the one place that you can be your true self. And there's no Netflix to binge. There's no food to eat to distract you. There's nobody else around you but just you. And I really feel, for me, that's why that beach has been so profound. And I've been able to really delve and see parts of myself. And bringing it back into my mundane life of like, well, if I can have the discipline to not reach for Netflix or to reach for the food or to reach to call my friend when I know that's the distraction. If I have the discipline to say I'm going to sit with it, whatever it is, I know there's something there for me because I have the evidence to say that it does work. So I ask you, where is life asking you to do something you don't think possible? And what if you was to put those stories down, put those beliefs down. What if you could do the thing you didn't think possible? Because if there is one thing that I have learned from this story, that is anything is possible. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. If this episode has resonated with you, then give it a like and share to friends. Join me next time where we continue the story of getting naked.